That is the only word for what we have just witnessed. A public, televised, catastrophic betrayal of every innocent child in this country. Live from the heart of our capital city, under the glare of television lights, the Mayor of London was given a simple chance. A chance to apologise to the victims of the most depraved crimes imaginable. A chance to show an ounce of human decency, a flicker of genuine remorse for his catastrophic failures of language and leadership. He refused. Point blank. The air in that chamber, thick with anticipation, turned to ice. And in that cold, calculated, almost reptilian refusal, he exposed a rot so deep, so pervasive, it threatens the very soul of Britain. The question is no longer if our institutions are compromised. The question is, how many more children must be sacrificed on the altar of political correctness before we admit what is happening in our own capital city? The mainstream media will report this as a heated exchange. A political row. They will use their sanitized, sterile language to mask the brutal reality of what took place in that room. They will protect him. But this was not a gaffe. It was not a misunderstanding. It was a cold, deliberate act of political sabotage against the victims of grooming gangs. When asked, directly, to apologize for pretending he didn't know what they were, Sadiq Khan didn't just deflect. He began to lecture. He began to redefine reality itself right before our eyes. He talked about intrafamilial abuse. He talked about the parent abuse. He deployed every bureaucratic, soul-crushing buzzword in the book to avoid speaking the plain, terrifying truth. These are not words of clarification. They are weapons of confusion, designed to create a fog so thick that the original crime disappears entirely. It is a poison injected directly into the language of law and order, a semantic disease that paralyzes justice before it can even begin. This is a strategy. A playbook of decay, executed with chilling precision. Stage 1, deny the problem exists. For years, they called anyone who raised the alarm a bigot, a racist, a fearmonger. Stage 2, when confronted with undeniable evidence, when the sheer scale of the horror becomes impossible to hide, you confuse and dilute. You deploy every bureaucratic buzzword to avoid speaking the plain truth. And then comes Stage 3, intimidate the truth-tellers. This wasn't ignorance on display. It was a calculated insult to every person who has suffered, every parent who lies awake at night, every police officer ordered to stand down. Insiders at the Met, brave souls risking their pensions, have been warning about this for months in hushed phone calls and encrypted messages. They speak of a culture of fear, a political climate where using the correct terminology in a crime report is a career-ending move. Khan's performance wasn't a mistake, it was a message, broadcast loud and clear to his own forces: stay silent, or you're next. And that was only the beginning of the nightmare. Because what followed was the official, institutional endorsement of this catastrophic lie. Behold the two-tier system of Sadiq Khan's London. A tale of two cities, played out in real time, more brutal than anything Dickens could have imagined. In one city, you have the elites. The mayor, his army of taxpayer-funded advisors, and the neutered, politically compliant leadership of the Metropolitan Police. They sit in sterile, glass-walled offices, agonizing over precise language and the impact on community cohesion. They see a bombshell report from their own analysts identifying 9,000 potential cases of gang exploitation, and their first instinct is not to flood the streets with police, not to kick down doors and drag these monsters to justice. No. Their first instinct is to manage the public relations. To control the narrative. To whittle the number down. 9,000 becomes 2,200. Soon, they hope, it will become a footnote. A statistical anomaly they can bury in a press release on a Friday afternoon. They are more terrified of the phrase grooming gang than they are of the gangs themselves. This is their London. A city of abstract theories and reputational risk assessments, conducted over catered lunches while the real city burns. Then there is the other city. The real London. The London of ordinary Britons, who have to live with the consequences of this elite cowardice. It's the London of a mother in a barking tower block, a woman who works 2 cleaning jobs to make ends meet. She heard the mayor's words on a crackling radio and felt a cold dread creep into her heart as her teenage daughter, full of life and innocence, left for school. She sees the blacked-out Audis that cruise her estate after dark, the older men loitering near the bus stop, and she knows. She knows what the mayor pretends not to. It's the London of a former Royal Marine sergeant from Hounslow, a man who fought in the dust of foreign wars for a country that now seems unable to defend its own children on its own streets. He sees the gangs operating with impunity, flaunting their wealth, their contempt written on their faces, and feels a burning shame he never felt on any battlefield. He fought for Queen and country, only to come home and find the enemy is inside the gates, protected by the very authorities meant to stop them. It's the London of a paramedic in Croydon, who has knelt on cold pavements trying to comfort girls whose eyes are 1,000 miles away, their childhoods extinguished. He's been told to be culturally sensitive in his reports, to use the approved, sanitized language, effectively forcing him to lie about the horrors he witnesses. And now, it is the London of a secondary school teacher in Tower Hamlets. A dedicated woman who noticed one of her brightest pupils becoming withdrawn. Suddenly wearing expensive trainers. Constantly checking a second, hidden phone. The teacher followed protocol. She raised her concerns. She was taken into an office and quietly told to be careful. That her observations could be seen as prejudiced. That she must not contribute to a damaging narrative. She was silenced. The system isn't just failing to act, it is actively suppressing those who try. And above all, it's the London of the victims themselves. The girls and young women who have been passed from one monster to the next, their childhood stolen, their lives destroyed, only to watch the most powerful man in their city pretend he doesn't even know what happened to them. They don't have PR teams. They don't have focus groups. All they have is the truth. And in Sadiq Khan's London, the truth is the most dangerous thing you can possess. The Met Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, now publicly warns the public not to use the term grooming gangs as a catchphrase. He claims, with a straight face, that the ethnicity of suspects is merely reflective of the diversity we see in the city. This, from the man in charge of a force whose own whistleblowers exposed the catastrophic cover-up. This is not policing. This is Orwellian social engineering, dictated from the mayor's office and enforced by a captured, terrified police force. And where is the man who wants to be Prime Minister in all of this? Where is Sir Keir Starmer? He is silent. Utterly, deafeningly, strategically silent. This is not an oversight. This is his design. Sadiq Khan is not some rogue mayor, he is the perfect, unvarnished embodiment of Starmer's Labour Party. A party that puts identity politics above all else. Above safety. Above justice. Above the sanctity of a British childhood. As the former Director of Public Prosecutions, Starmer knows exactly what is happening. He understands the mechanics of these crimes better than anyone. His silence is therefore not ignorance, it is complicity. He is the architect of this moral collapse, the chief coward in Westminster. Critics believe his silence is a sickeningly cynical calculation. He will look the other way, he will allow his mayor to gaslight victims, he will allow the police to be turned into a political weapon as long as it gets him one step closer to number 10. He knows Khan's power base in London relies on pandering to specific bloc votes, on never, ever causing offence to certain activist networks. And he will not risk upsetting that delicate, corrupt ecosystem for something as trivial as justice for abused British girls. Every word of denial from Khan's lips is an echo of Starmer's own spineless ambition. The message is clear, under a Starmer government, the truth will always be secondary to the narrative. But a resistance is stirring. A great awakening. It was there in that room, in the form of Susan Hall, who refused to be intimidated, who looked the mayor in the eye and spoke the truth he so desperately tried to evade. It's there in the hushed, urgent voices of whistleblowers within the Met, men and women of conscience risking their careers to expose the cover-up from the inside. It's there in the powerful, unwavering voice of Nigel Farage and the growing movement of Reform UK, who have been warning for over a decade that this toxic cocktail of political cowardice and cultural appeasement would lead to exactly this catastrophic failure. And it is here, with us. With every single person watching this, sharing this, refusing to accept the lies. The elites believe they can manage this. They believe they can redefine words, manipulate statistics, and intimidate the public into a state of terrified silence. They believe that you, the British people, are too tired, too divided, and too stupid to notice what they are doing. They have mistaken your patience for apathy. They have mistaken your decency for weakness. The mask has not just slipped, it has been torn off in a moment of public humiliation. This is not another news cycle to be forgotten by Friday. This is a line in the sand. We now see the face of the establishment in all its ugly, self-serving, child-endangering glory. Will you accept a London where the mayor protects the criminals and not the children? Will you stand by while the political class redefines evil out of existence simply to protect their careers and their cynical voting strategies? Or will you be a voice for the voiceless, a light in the darkness they have created? If you refuse to stay silent, if you believe Britain deserves better than this unforgivable, catastrophic betrayal, then make your voice heard in the comments. Share this video and subscribe to this channel. Let them know, from City Hall to the halls of Parliament, that the people of this country are awake, we are watching, and we will not forget.